Welcome back everybody to another Sunday update video. My name is Robert Doman and today we're going to be reflecting on failures, planning and making change. And this is all about acknowledging mistakes alongside wins, okay? So let's take it chill. Let's talk about what I did this week and what I wanted to do this week and maybe what I didn't do this week. So I started doing oil pastel drawings. These things behind me, they're on A6 card, and it's just, what I do is I go onto Pinterest and I find a piece of art that looks a bit like that, and then I copy it using a very limited color palette, which is these ones here, and there's 12 of them, and I find that the colors are very limiting. I also find that the small canvas is very limiting. However, the limits actually help me to just do it. You know, like with GB Studio, how there's so many limits. It's a Game Boy game in 2025, and yet we're doing it. Why are we doing it? Because the limitations, they help us. And yeah, I feel like I've already learned quite a lot from doing that. Basically about color and about layering and about choosing the right image to go off of. The first one I did, I think it was this one, and it's just very green and it doesn't really read. Actually, from this distance it kind of does read. It looks like grass, trees, sky with like some kind of clouds maybe, which is basically what it is. But if you look at it close up, it's harder to tell, which I kind of like about this. Like, they look like, if you squint, they look like they're higher detail than they are, which is kind of cool. And so there's like different ways that I'm finding joy in these little things. And I often do these right before bed, right? So just before I write in my diary, right, which I've been doing every day for a whole year, I do this, and it kind of brings me joy at the end of the day. It's like this nice creative task where I shut off my brain and I'm just focusing on colors. It's very nice. I very rarely do a sketch behind it, and instead I sketch with the oil pastels. It's just very fun. If you ever wanted to do oil pastels or remember doing them as a kid, I recommend doing them again because it's quite fun. I find it fun anyway. What else did I do this week? I uploaded Take It Racing Free, the prototype, to itch.io, which you can play for free in your browser. And the game is, I would call it an in-development build, where it doesn't make sense to a new player, but it might make sense to players of Take It Racing 1 and 2. And I think it's something. And in the video I made later in the week, I talk about how it's a work in progress, but also it has those little snippets of joy that I want to maximize. And in that video I talked about minimizing friction, maximizing fun. And I definitely need to go through and redesign Take It Racing Free from the ground up, maybe. I also made a little PowerPoint for that video. That was kind of fun. I might do more of that. And I use the scenes here in OBS, which I'm recording with, to switch between what everybody's seeing. So I minimize editing. And if you remember the first video, the reason why I'm doing this is I want to edit less. I used to spend hours editing, and it didn't really achieve much. So I want to edit less and do more. And it's working so far this year. What else did I do this week? I've been working on the Take It Racing Free new car graphics. Before, they were basically just copied from Take It Racing 2. But I want a fresh new look for Take It Racing Free. I want it to be really cool. So I've been working on that. And you won't see that yet. That will be in a few weeks, I imagine. I'll show you what I've been working on. And then more personally, I went for a run on the days I didn't go to the gym. I normally go to the gym with my brother. But I went for a run. That's one of my New Year's resolutions, is every time I don't go to the gym, I should go for a run. And it's only 15, 20 minutes I need to go for. But it's just getting up and getting out, getting active, getting my heart pumping, getting the blood going, and then coming back with energy, you know? And also, I tidied up my space. It was getting a bit messy, so I tidied it up, and now it's got clear space, clear mind. So, what didn't I do this week? One thing I wanted to do, I didn't tell anyone, and maybe that's why it didn't get done, is that I wanted to demake a song in chiptune, which I've done before. I made a Beatles song, and I made Soundgarden Black Hole Sun on my. I think you can still find it on my channel. And I wanted to make another one. I wanted to make one every month in 2025. So I still have time, but because I didn't do it this week, I've made myself less time to do it, which is a shame. So I need to hold myself accountable, and I need to plan to do that. I may have to research a very simple song, and that will be how it starts. It's always about momentum, get the ball rolling, inertia. Once it's going, it stays going. I also wanted to make a start on the game jam, which I haven't talked about either. There's a game jam. It's from Pirate Software. I think you can find it on itch.io. And I think the theme is "You Are the Weapon." And that sounded fun. And I came up with an idea. I'll tell you the idea. And if you know, guys, game ideas aren't copyrightable. The only thing that's copyrightable is a trademark, which is normally the name. So you can copy my game idea. You can copy it and have fun with it if you want, because game mechanics, you can't trademark or copyright a game mechanic. How interesting. So my game idea is side-scrolling platformer, but it's turn-based. Okay, so it's actually, because You're the Weapon, it's going to be a bounty hunting cowboy game where you take missions and then you shoot the bad guy. And I want it to be a bit like D&D, where you get actions. And so you get 3 actions. And so they could be like move, shoot, duck into cover, reload, that kind of stuff. Once you've used your 3 actions, it's then the enemies, and then they do it. And then boom, 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 back and forth, until one of you is either captured or dead. How fun is that? But I didn't make a start on it. I wrote all that down, but I didn't start it, which is a shame. So I need to plan to do that. I need to make sure I break it down. What's most important, and do that first. Get the ball rolling. Easiest, less friction, most important. Another thing I wanted to do, and I didn't, I wanted to take pictures. However, I think next weekend might be a better time for that. That's just me personally, because I want to one of my New Year's resolutions, take more pictures. I have a camera from my great aunt, I think, from years and years ago, and I've taken some pictures with it, and I want to take some more pictures with it. That's as simple as just something that would be nice to do. And one thing else. So that was everything I did do this week and wanted to do but didn't. One thing that I haven't told anyone about yet, this plan I had for an art project. Have you ever heard of texture art? The idea that textures and... I don't know how else to describe it. I guess it's just textures. Are interesting. Textures are interesting. Like you zoom in on something and there's minute details in things that even you'd think are boring, right? And so I had an idea of making a collage of receipts that I get throughout 2025. And that may sound strange and weird. However, it sounds interesting to me. I like the idea of having a textured thing, like newspaper print texture, as a background to things. I feel like receipts hold a history and a timeline of a life or a year, and of purchases. I feel like we live in a world where purchases are a life. But obviously, that's not entirely true, but it's a fun and interesting way of taking something that you'd normally say, no, I don't need that, or yes, I'll have that, and then it goes in the bin, or it fills up your wallet, or it goes in a corner, or whatever you do with receipts. I like the idea of scanning them and collaging them to be texture. And so maybe I didn't reflect upon my failures well enough in this video. I didn't make solid enough plans that weren't specific enough. They weren't using SMART goals or hard goals. However, I think voicing them is good nonetheless. And maybe next week, when I plan next week, which will probably be after this video or tomorrow morning, I can make sure that these are put into my time. My time is laid out correctly. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. I'll put my patrons up right now. Bye bye.